everyone, and welcome back to the OWise Real Life Stories. I am thrilled to be talking to Julie today. We've connected a bit on social media. I know Julie is fellow triple negative breast cancer thriver. But I would love to hear from you, Julie, and tell us a bit about your breast cancer story and share anything you'd like to with us. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me.
No problem, thank you. So 3rd of March 2023 at 5:20 in the afternoon, diagnosed triple negative breast cancer. I'd found the lump accidentally in the shower, as lots of us do, and went to the GP, saw the nurse, got referred, rest is history really. I was diagnosed a week after having all the biopsies and things done, and the plan was already laid out for me. So it was lumpectomy, chemotherapy, and then radiotherapy. I asked if I was going to lose my hair. That was the only question really I had to ask, and they said yes, but I wasn't really too worried about that, to be honest. I was more worried about I need to get the cancer gone. So I didn't Google, and never will Google triple negative breast cancer, but I did look it up on Macmillan and breast cancer now, and that frightened me very, 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 very much. And I, mental health wise, kind of plummeted. And I spoke to someone who was telling me the date of the surgery, and I just said it's not soon enough, I need to have it gone. And so they swapped my surgeon, which I'm very grateful for, and I had the lump removed in 3 weeks, I think, from diagnosis, which was
really good. Really good. Were able to help in that way.
They were amazing. My surgeon was just the most incredible man, and just made room for me even a week earlier than he could have done. So he sort of jiggled things around a little bit, which was just lovely. And then obviously chemotherapy, because that's just the way it has to be. That started 25th of May last year and ran until the 27th of October. I've got these dates, they stick into my head. And that was all fine. The chemotherapy itself, I did relatively well with, if I'm honest.
That's great to hear. We love to hear that.
Absolutely brilliant. I was never sick. I wasn't ill. I didn't really get fatigued. I did a little, but not too much. I carried on working from behind a screen.
Incredible.
Yeah, I've never had a day off sick because of it so far. I've just sort of carried on, because that's the way I have to do. I have to do it like that. And then, but all the way through that, I was sort of saying, and this is probably the trickiest bit. All the way through, I was saying that I hated my breasts, literally hated them. I didn't trust them. I didn't want them. And it wasn't warranted, because my cancer was stage 1. I'd caught it really, really early. And so they were just going to do the lumpectomy. And I said, it's not good enough. I can't live my life like that. They have to go. I've got, they just had to go. And so I spent a lot of time talking about this with the surgeon, with my breast nurse. And in the end, they really did listen to me, and it was agreed that I could have my right breast taken, which was the cancer breast, but I'd have to have the psychological report. I'd have to go through all of that in order to have the healthy breast taken, but they were open to it, which was absolutely amazing. Really, really amazing.
So good. Yeah.
So instead of having the radiotherapy, I was able to have the bilateral mastectomy, and that was the end of it for me, kind of.
Incredible.
It still carries on.
Did you have the bilateral mastectomy at the same time then, in the end, or?
Yes. Yeah.
So they gave you a lumpectomy first.
Yep.
Then you pushed for a bilateral mastectomy. And is that, I'm guessing it wasn't offered to you because there wasn't a gene for why you got triple negative breast cancer? No.
Nope.
So,
no. I
mean, that is amazing to hear you speak about that, and especially from your own personal experience of, lots of women are happy having the lumpectomies, but you really were not going to be. And you mentioned that you just just disliked your breasts. Was that from the moment you were told you had breast cancer?
Yeah. I just didn't trust them, and I was worried that if there was to be a recurrence, I wouldn't find it because I couldn't check myself, and so I wouldn't be lucky twice. I don't. Lucky's a tough word, but lucky. I see myself as being lucky because I caught it at stage 1.
Yes, absolutely, and that is obviously it's a loaded word because you've got breast cancer. However,
yes.
When you're dealt the card of breast cancer, it does feel incredibly lucky when you are told things like it's early stage, and we're looking to treat this and cure this. So that's really, really incredible. And did you have reconstruction at the time?
I've decided to live fat.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, I've had a chat with my friend Jo Titler-Swander just a few months ago, and yes, she did too. And I think that's an amazing decision to make, and love how everyone is so different with their experiences.
Everyone is different. I think I've spoken to a lot of women about it, and you get the people sort of asking, "Are you going to have a reconstruction?" No, thank you. I just want to be able to see what's going on, to feel what's going on. I've got no issues with body image whatsoever. I actually look at my scars and just think, wow, look at what you did for me.
Yeah. Incredible.
I kind of turn it into a bit of a positive and just think, I can carry on with my new normal much more comfortably. And I knew that would be me.
Really, really amazing to hear, Julie. And yeah, I think good on you for pushing and having a team that listen to you. And it's so incredible to hear that you advocating for yourself and what is going to work best for you, because the diagnosis of breast cancer is so life-changing that if we can claw any type of control or decision making back ourselves, I think that's really empowering and really amazing.
Yeah, I do too.
And so when did you have your double mastectomy? When did everything kind of, I say finish because it doesn't really finish, but in terms of your, for triple negative breast cancer, we don't get to take any kind of pills or medication for 5-10 years after, which has its plus positives and its negatives, right? You get to kind of like be medication free, but also we don't have that security of taking something every day.
Right.
So when did all your kind of active treatment and surgeries finish?
I had the mastectomies on the 4th of December. Yeah.
Gosh, really not that was 4 months ago.
Yeah, really, really not. It's just all the way through it, I've wanted to say, because I have felt well throughout, I've been very, very lucky. I just want to help. That's all I want to do.
Well, if I'd heard your story when I was diagnosed with breast cancer and heard that you'd worked through, you'd made these really empowering decisions, it would have helped me. For sure, it would have helped me. So I'm, hopefully when people see this, it will really help them.
I'm not gonna lie. Mental health wise, very, very tricky. Ups and downs. You'd wake up in the morning, you'd cry, and for no reason in particular other than just the fact that I had cancer. That
Of course, yeah.
It's the unknown, and then I had all of the control taken away from my life. You have no control whatsoever, and I really disliked that. Really struggled with that. And I think a lot of women do. But I think I had the added thing of the fact that I didn't feel unwell at any point. And I just like, you need to listen to me because I know what I'm saying and I'm completely sane. And then you start crying because it was frustration more than anything. And then get told, oh, you need to have some therapy or you need to have some of this. And you just think, oh, I really don't. I just really need you to please listen.
Mm.
I think the thing I would say is if you can, try not to cry in those meetings. It's the
Isn't
one.
that, I mean, why would they view tears as, instability in a way? That is kind of mind blowing in many ways, because it is such an emotive time. I think you
Yeah,
can be of completely sound mind and still be crying at the grief of a situation. So it just
yeah.
sounds like you had a really good team of people that didn't just kind of brush you off and
No,
say, no, that's not possible. Move
I had
along.
I had the most fantastic breast care nurse who was just there at the end of a phone or at the end of a message if I turned up at chemo, and I was struggling. I would just get them to message her, and she'd give me 5-10 minutes just to bring me
Yeah,
down,
that
bring
really
me back to
helps.
life, and that
Yeah.
was all it was needed. And then just a cuddle, and then off you go. Sometimes
Yeah, in
that's
those
all.
moments when our brain is just completely spiraling.
Yeah,
I felt my breast care nurse always knew how to just say the right thing in that moment and kind of, yeah, bring you back to the moment of where you're at, why your story might be different to someone else's. Because my spiraling would always really tend to come from like someone I'd seen maybe online who I thought, we had similar cancers and we were at a similar stage, and then this had happened to them, and she would always just say like everyone is on different paths, and just you need to just listen to your doctors and what you're doing, and that always would help me kind of to come back and
yeah.
take a deep breath.
Just kind of ground you a little bit. You just need that
Yeah,
ground sometimes because you
yeah.
do spiral off into pits of despair, I think, half the time. That's how it felt. Some mornings I'd wake up and I'd be in a pit of despair. And
Well,
then,
especially you say you found chemo okay, but I think you would have done similar chemo to me, right? 12 weeklies and then 4 ACs. Did you have the immunotherapy as well at the
no.
time? No. But the weeklies, like that is they're quite intense to get back in that chair each week.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Because I had my
um,
ECs first. I had the ECs first and then I had the paclitaxel carboplatin. So it's,
fine. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that way around.
So I did it the other way because I had the immunotherapy, the pembrolizumab,
Yep.
which yeah, I don't know why we did it that way, but that's really good that chemo didn't give you, because often I'll talk to people and it can be quite, sometimes people have very extreme side effects to these drugs. And obviously then there's the middle ground. It's tough. I feel like I was quite a middle ground person. I found it tough on some days. Then I had my good days. It was just like good days, bad days, got to know my cycles, had some neutropenia and things like that, which wasn't the best, but generally speaking, like was able to get through and cool, And then I have now got friends. I'm like, oh my God, I actually didn't have any of these really extreme reactions. But was there anything about chemo that you found kind of tricky or tough or?
Yeah, I did have the neutrophil issue. So I knew everything was working because I think after the first EC, it completely knocked it out and there was a delay of a week. So I was having that fortnightly and I had to have the second EC 3 weeks after because my neutrophils just went to, I think it was 0.6. So it was actually quite dangerous. And I
Mm,
hadn't realised I walked in looking like I do now, and they've gone, "You're looking really well." And then they gave me the phone call to say, "No, not this week." And I don't know
such a
why.
heartbreaking to hear.
Oh, I don't know why. I just got really upset, and I
Yeah.
mean, inconsolable, upset, completely mad. To the point where I phoned my breast nurse the next day. I could see her on the Thursday again, and she ordered another blood test to see where my bloods were so that I could start thinking, okay, it's fine. Because all I kept thinking was, this is all I've got. I can only have chemo and I'm already knocked out to the point where I'm, it's really dangerous. I've got
Yeah.
another 15 of these to go, I'm never going to get to the
Yeah,
end.
it's a scary place to be. Yeah.
A scary, scary place to be. And luckily they were going back up. So that was fine. And I managed to get through the ECs okay. And each time I went, I would collect my blood results. It was some advice that I was given by a friend or somebody I got to know, who said, collect your blood results to see what's going on. And I did that, and I could see the pattern. I made a spreadsheet because I'm quite sad in that way. But and I could see the graph, so I could see what my bloods would be when they were taken. I could see what they were like after the filgastrim, the GCSF, because I'd had my.
Which
I'd
to
also
anyone listening is, if in case they don't know, is the injection you get given to boost your white blood cells, so as to help them kind of get back to normal level after chemotherapy.
Absolutely. And because I forgot to say, after the first EC, I also then began to have some really strange heart palpitations. So phone your cancer care line, got looked over, had another blood test. So I could see where my bloods were in relation to the GCSF working. So I knew that they were sky high. And then a week later, they dropped to rock bottom. So I could see this pattern. And then from there on in, I collected my blood results and I could see this pattern. And I only just about managed to get my 4th EC done, even with the GCSF.
Yeah.
Just about managed to get it in. And then you have the 3-week break, get your body back together again, another blood test, up they went. Brilliant. And I said to my team when I was at the pre-chemo, well, no, actually it was in the end of my ECs, I said, I am not going to be able to do the paclitaxel carboplatin without GCSF because we don't get it in our trust. You just don't. You get it after the carboplatin paclitaxel, but then you do the 2 paclitaxel, you don't get the GCSF.
Okay.
And I kind of said, so I'm not gonna be able to do this. And because I felt well, I didn't want my dosage reduced.
Yeah.
So it was a balancing act of like, my bloods have got to be okay. And I gave them the specific date that I said I would have a delay. And I was right. And I wasn't listened to.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
Yeah. I'd predicted when I was going to have a delay. And I did. I had the delay. I was 0.1 off and I wasn't allowed to go and have my bloods done the next day. So it had to be delayed. And then I had another blood test the week after that and they were even lower. And so the delays, I just went insane. Went insane.
So I think such a huge part of finding out you've got to have all this treatment, all this chemotherapy, is having that end goal in sight. And I had similar with you where there was delays and really felt devastated by every single one, but quite quickly realized, like, I'll count down the chemos, that will be my tick those off, but I just won't have this set end goal because it was just so disappointing, like the date getting shifted and shifted. Yeah, it can be really tough because you also go into a funny place of, even though chemo is tough, you just want to get it in you. You're like, come on, give me another one, just give me another one.
It's the strangest feeling. It's just like, I need you to do this, and no, you're not reducing the dose, and no,
yeah,
I just want you to give this to me. It's odd. It was something I couldn't explain to people that weren't going through it. It's just, I've got to have this, so they are going to give it to me. And in the end, I missed 1 paclitaxel, so I had 15 out of my 16. All at full dose.
And that was because of the neutrophils.
Because of the neutrophils, yeah, because I missed the 2. So it was the first cycle of the 3 paclitaxel. So I'd had the first one, had injections, had the second one, and then it was a delay, and then a delay. So I missed the 3rd part of the first paclitaxel. And then, having had a little bit of a discussion with my oncologist, with the help of my nurse, I managed to get some GCSF injections.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had them all the way through, starting with the paclitaxels, because, like you say, everyone experiences such different side effects. And I think if you bloods are experiencing that, then they just need that help. They just need
Yeah.
that help to get through. And mine was just, again, like yours, just on the floor, and there was no way they were going to be going up in time to get the chemo in me without the help of those injections, even though they were like very painful.
Yeah,
As
they
in
were.
what they did, I could
They're
feel
not
like
nice.
no, but again, it's that psychological thing of they're not nice, but give them to me because I need them, because I want them to help my body to kind of get back so I can get back in the chair. Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not been that long at all for you since you finished your treatment, your surgeries. So how are you feeling now? Where you talked about mental health. Are you doing anything to kind of help you with this stage? Because I think sometimes it can be sometimes harder.
It's hard trying not to think about cancer all day, every
Yeah.
day. It is getting better. Because I'm one of those people that overthinks all the time. I overthink. I get quite anxious, just generally. And I think since I had the histology results from the mastectomies, knowing that they were clear, that helped immensely. Just it was clear. So that's great.
Fantastic. Yeah,
You know,
fantastic.
that kind of put me in the right headspace. But then I've been getting a few aches and pains and age and all of that sort of thing.
Mm.
But I had my year check with my surgeon and I mentioned, should I be aching? Thinking he'd go, oh yeah, you've had chemo and this. And he's gone, no. And ordered me a CT scan, which I had 3 weeks ago, and it's clear.
Oh,
So
good.
my head is now in a place where it's just like, right, yes, cancer is there. Cancer is a big part of your life, always will be. But we have to get on. I have to get on
Yeah.
and start living that new normal.
Yeah. And that is exactly what it is. It is a new normal. You can't go back to the person before your diagnosis. So much has changed. And it can take time, and it's a process, isn't it? And that I think having the CT scan and knowing that always helped me too, like to be like, okay, we're good. Like now let's rebuild, let's pick up the pieces. So again, there's no time limit on how it all feels, and it can
No.
feel quite raw for a while, because
Yeah.
you talk about all the dates and the times and they're so fresh in your head, and I'm 3 years, I think, ahead of you. So from that place, I can remember being in exactly what you're saying. Still thought about cancer all day, every day. And will there ever come a day? And a very good friend of mine, Mary Huckle, I don't know if you ever saw her on Instagram. She said, it will change with time, and there will come a day and you'll still think about it, but it just won't carry the same weight. And I now know I'm in that stage, and I often think about those words and what she said and think it's true. It's true. I'll never not think about it. We've got the scars, like, there's too much. I've got the radiotherapy dots. I don't think you have the radiotherapy, but you see this stuff and you kind of go, oh, okay, little moment of, wow, that did happen. But actually, with time, you do heal.
Yeah. And I think for me, that's what I'm kind of looking forward to, and knowing a number of people that have had different types of cancer and just saying it is perfectly normal to be feeling this way. It is perfectly normal. And, as you say, about the things that helped with the mental health throughout, I did have access to a counsellor who I did speak to from my hospital. She was great. Great to just offload, great to get words and things sorted in my head, because certain things that people would say really grated on my nerve, it just grated on me. And I just needed to talk those through with people. I also had some reflexology, which was lovely. That was through a little charity in my area who you get referred to by your breast nurse, and you can access some alternative therapies, which is lovely.
Really nice and really kind of, really needed, and I think.
Yeah. And then I did have, because I was anxious and we couldn't work out whether these palpitations were due to the treatment or anxiety. I think they were anxiety because I could actually control it. Um, I was given some beta blockers, just
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
low kind of dose, and that was just enough.
Fantastic.
Just
Did you
enough.
have a port fitted?
I had a pick.
You had a port fitted. No, just because when I had my port fitted, I started to feel some heart stuff around that time. I wondered if it could have been linked to that at all. That's
Yeah,
great that you worked out
I had the
ways.
X-rays. Yeah, I had the X-rays when I had the palpitations after the first EC. My oncologist wasn't particularly worried. There was a little change or something on the ECG, but nothing that anybody was worried about. It's normal since, so
Mm.
I'm guessing it was purely anxiety related because I could control it.
Yeah, that's really good that then you've managed, you've found your way to kind of manage the levels of anxiety, and there's so much there, isn't there, that goes on, even in terms of treatment, putting us into medical menopause, which can then increase anxiety as well, and the fears around the cancer. There's a
Mm.
lot,
Yeah,
going on.
there is an awful lot going on. Yeah.
And do you seek kind of support now in terms of, you said you speak to your counsellor, do you do anything to help with your anxiety levels in terms of
Um, not,
relaxation,
not
walking?
actively at the moment. I still have my reflexology, which is amazing.
Yeah,
I still do that. Um, I work in the most amazing team who just listen. Um, and we are quite a close kind of teaching team, as it were. Um, and they just that's enough. My
yeah.
friends listen.
No,
My
that's
mum,
huge. That
especially
is
my mum. My mum's
having
amazing.
people that will listen
Yeah.
and, you know, not try and fix, I think is so important too. Um,
Yeah, I think that's it really. It's like I said just a little bit ago, is the words really got on me. I know lots of people use the words journey and things like that. I didn't like that word. It was a treatment plan for me. It a journey. You go somewhere nice.
yeah,
I wasn't going, and it's one of those things. It's everybody to their own. Um, but I just want to say it's if you feel like that about the words, it's absolutely fine because it was such a big
absolutely.
thing for me.
Yeah, completely. Listen,
And
uh,
what?
before my diagnosis, I thought I knew a lot about breast cancer because my mum had had it. Um, then I was in this community and I started to understand people. There's some people that really have a problem with battle language, with, pink, where, there's, it is such an emotional thing to face, to go through, to live, that there's going to be different things that make us go, oh, I don't like that, oh, I'm not sure about that, and that is so okay because we are such a varied mix of individuals all coming,
Exactly. And I think that the biggest thing to say with that is I did actually correct people and they were okay about it because I thought, oh, I can't let you carry on telling me that I'm a warrior because I'm not. I'm doing as I'm told. So
yeah,
I had to say, I don't feel that I'm a warrior. That might be okay for somebody else, but not for me.
yeah,
Just
yeah. It's
check
true,
in.
and
I'm
everyone says,
okay.
you are so strong, and of course we are being strong. But it's like you say, you kind of have to, because what is the alternative? So I always try and say yes, but you would be just as strong. There's no, because
Exactly.
there really is, the strength is within every single person. I'm no stronger than the next person. It's just you just do what you have to do, right?
You have
To
to
get
do.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And often I felt so far from strong. I was like on the, quite literally on the floor of the chemo ward, being like, "Oh my God, really? You're giving me another dose?" And then, yeah,
or,
not a pretty sight, but
yeah, or you're in tears and you're just thinking,
yeah,
I can't stop this and I don't know why.
yeah,
And it just, keep being strong, and you just think, I can't keep being strong.
no.
I can't
I
do
think
it.
that I think it's Brene Brown that says it. There is so much strength in vulnerability, and I think that is completely great too. That anyone facing a breast cancer diagnosis, treatment, like to know in those moments when you feel you're least strong, there's still strength there, because that is, yeah, that's just being human, showing up and having to
It
deal
is.
with something so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have any, because I feel this is so all quite new to you, you might be able to go back to that newly diagnosed place, and if anyone's watching that it might be in that space as well, like any words of advice from someone who's just come through it and still, I would say.
Yeah, I would say don't Google anything. If you have questions, write them down. Ask your team. Your breast nurse is always there. She will answer anything. And if she doesn't know the answer, she will find out for you. Just write it down. The best thing that I did was keep like a little journal, which I had all my questions in. Anything that they asked me to find out, I would write in there. I had my diary in there of appointments, because that's just get yourself a diary is the biggest thing, because you're going to be here.
All the OWise app.
Or the OWise app, absolutely. If I'd have known about the OWise
I
app,
know.
in fact, I looked through it and thought, this is what I kept on paper.
You're just saying
Definitely
everything.
the
It's got
OWise
the
app.
journal, it's got the
Yeah,
diary. It is such a
it
supportive
has.
tool. I wish I'd had it when I was diagnosed or known about it
Absolutely.
too.
I
Yeah.
literally found it about 4 or 5 weeks ago and just thought, oh,
I
this is
know.
incredible.
It's got your
Um,
spreadsheet in there. You would have been
yeah,
able to.
could have put it in there, definitely. And that's the sort and also when if you're going through the chemotherapy, keep a diary, and you can do it again. I've seen in the OWise app. Keep a diary of your side effects, so that when you go for your chemo, you haven't got to sit there with your chemo fog going,
I
can't
know.
remember.
They used to be like, "How have you been the past 2 weeks?" I'd be like, I don't know what I had for breakfast earlier. I can't tell you. I think I had, they'd be like, "What's your tummy be like? What's this? What's that?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
And then I would just literally grab it out of my bag and just go, okay. So yeah, I was like that on that day and that day, and I wrote temperatures and all sorts of things in there so I could keep a track of absolutely
Oh
everything,
my God,
even
they must have loved
the
you,
pain.
Julie. You were there. That is, yeah, that is a spot
It's,
on A-star cancer people.
it's just because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember before the cancer diagnosis. I've always had a bit of a fog going on. This is
Yeah.
just made. That's the one thing that I do now, is that when you've come through the other side, and you're sort of where I am now, six months or so past chemo finishing, really don't beat yourself up around about it. If you still can't find the words you need to say, or you can't remember what you're doing, I sort of realized I was having one of those days today when I was on my visit this morning with some children, thinking, can't even string a sentence together. This is not
Yeah.
going well. And I just
It's
laugh
not,
at myself.
it's not fighting it, is it? And not giving ourselves a hard time. I always do that. I'm so used to now going like, "Oh, what's that word? Can you help me find that word?" And then someone will say it and I'll be like, "There we go." And we just move on. Like, my brain can't get certain words anymore, and that's all right. And it's not all the time, but it's sometimes.
And I just sort of think, definitely keep a track of everything. Ask questions and try and be your own advocate if you can.
Yeah,
I was
massively
probably
that's
more
come through
able.
today.
Yeah, I think I was more able than a lot because I felt well. And if you don't feel well, you must always make sure that somebody is there with you. I always had that person with me as well, but they never spoke. He never spoke for me. I did it because I
Mm-hmm.
could. But I just think it's important that you must make your point heard, because you have no control. All control is taken away, but actually you need to be making decisions with your team as well, and making them aware of how you're feeling.
It's amazing advice, really good. Yeah, I'm sure that will help someone watching for sure. Thank you, Julie. It's been really great to talk to you. I've loved hearing about your spreadsheets and your organisation, and yeah, I think, like you too, I remember dates, I remember times, things like that. They're just always there. So yeah, I felt like a kindred spirit there with how our brains work. But yeah, it was really nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
And
Brilliant.
yeah, wishing you all the best and everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.